What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. Straight Wall Hunting Cartridge Series continued. Today we're going to focus on 360 Buckhammer. We're going to be using a Thompson Center Encore with an SSK Barrel from SSK Firearms, chambered in 360 Buckhammer, of course. For those of you that don't know what this cartridge is, this is a very new cartridge. It's a slightly tapered cartridge. It's a very rimmed cartridge. This is for use in straight wall hunting states. It's supposed to be very comparable to the 30-30. This particular load is a Remington Core-Lokt 200 grain soft point, and it's supposed to be traveling at a muzzle velocity of 2,180 feet per second. So just to give you a visual representation of what we got going on here, here is the 360 Buckhammer. Here's a 400 Legend. Here's a Smith & Wesson 460 Magnum. There's a 444 Marlin. Right here we have a 4570 Govt. This is a 500 Magnum, and this is a 500 Bushwhacker. Sorry, I left out the 450 Bushmaster, and I left out the 350 Legend. They're back at the house, but you get a good enough idea here compared to these other cartridges. So we're going to have a slight mashup of firearms here today. We have a Thompson Center Encore rifle, but we have a 360 Buckhammer SSK Firearms barrel on it. Thompson Center is back in business, and I'm pretty sure they're probably going to chamber this cartridge at some point, but for now, this is how we get barrels for them. On top of that, we have a SIG Buckmaster scope. This one in particular is 3 to 12 power. Here's what the reticle looks like on that scope, and I'm just showing this to you because all of our rifles that we're using for this series are going to be using the same optics. We're trying to keep things very consistent here for this series. You will see one thing different from the other videos in the series that we've done so far, and that's we're adding a Garmin chronograph because the other chronograph was just not cutting it. But other than that, we're pretty much keeping it all the same. Now, I've selected today's ammunition, the 200 grain Remington Core-Lokt. I could have used the 180 grain soft point that they also have, or they have a Federal hammer down, and that's 220 grains. So I picked the 200 grain, wanting to settle right in the middle. That's what I think we'll get a good zero on. That way we can go up a little bit and down a little bit instead of having drastic in between. But don't worry, we'll be back soon to test both of these. Today we're going to focus on chronograph, accuracy, trying to get some groups, making sure we're zeroed, and just seeing how the rifle feels. In the future, we'll definitely be over there doing gel block tests. Enough talking, it's time to start shooting. We're going to go right for that 100-yard target behind me, way back there. We do have the steel target up, and we've kind of done a rough zero bore sight type of thing on it so far, so we should be somewhat close. But let's put everything to the test, including the Garmin. All right, I'm going to go for the middle lower target. I'll be on 12 zooms. I'm going to take my time. I'm just going to keep the camera rolling through all the shots, and we're just going to try to get a good shot down there, get a good group. No matter where it lands, we're just going for grouping right now. Then we'll make some adjustments later. Looks like actually a pretty good shot. We have 2198. It might be a pretty flat traveler right there. And I know someone's going to yell at me for putting my hand up there about barrel harmonics. That's okay. Very close shot. Well, kind of close shot on the opposite end of the bullseye. So for just in case anybody doesn't want me to have my hand up there where it was, I'll throw the first shot out kind of, or we'll consider that one a cold bore shot like I was going to do anyway. We'll get 4 of them. That was a 2210 on the feet per second. That one looks pretty close to the other one, I think. You can see it better than I can right now. We had 2185 on the Garmin. We might have put a hole in hole right there. And I felt pretty good about that one. And we might have put another hole in hole, or we're somewhere in the black in there that I can't see it. But very soft shooting, feels pretty good to me. I think a lot of people could definitely get along with this rifle, at least in this setup. I forgot to mention this is an 18-inch barrel, so that velocity that we're getting right there, we got 2185 out of that shot. Let's go take a look at the target, see what we got. All right, so here's the group we got. I'm going to go ahead and throw that one out, kind of. You can leave it in there for your own mind if you want. I had my hand resting on top of the barrel. Sorry, that's just a habit I have from messing with fighting type rifles where the super accuracy doesn't matter. So if we do throw out that shot or use that as a cold bore shot and kind of throw it out, we have a 2.26. Not the best in my opinion, but that's me shooting that rifle off that bag with that optic. The optic doesn't move. We have it dialed in and we have it penciled in where we're going to know if it moves. We have witness marks all over it. So I do have a little bit of arc of motion here, but I'm pretty confident that when I light the trigger off, I am right here. It's not a lead sled. We will be checking these rifles in a lead sled, so don't worry, we will do that. If you want to go ahead and include that other shot, we can stretch that group out to 2.78, but I'm not sure that that's fair. I do like that our rough zero is pretty much our zero. If we want to go ahead and just make an average of that, I'm going to have to lay it right there. So I'm going to go ahead and take it as a zero for right now, at least with that ammunition. When we change other ammunitions, we might get point of impact, point of aim shifts. Let's go take a shot at 20 yards on a steel and see what it looks like if we have to take a shot closer on a deer rather than the 100-yard shot. I will be aiming dead center right here. Let's see where we end up. It'd be really nice if we hit in the same area like we've been doing with the rest of the straight walls. That makes it real convenient for hunting deer 100 yards and in, and a little bit past 100 yards. Better turn down the zooms to about 6. And that's an acceptable shot for sure. That's definitely within the deer MOA. So that last shot was 2182, and out of those last 5 shots, we had a minimum of 2182, a maximum of 2210, and an average of 2192. It shows here our extreme spread of 27.5 feet per second, standard deviation of 10.4. There's our hit, so yep, definitely good enough for deer. We'll fine-tune this zero eventually. Once we find an ammo that this gun really likes, we'll definitely be putting it in a lead sled and trying to eke out as much accuracy as possible. For now, I want to shoot normal like some of you guys might shoot. You guys won't even have a bag in front of you probably if you're hunting, so let alone a lead sled. And remember, we do have 2 more factory loadings at least to try before we get onto the hand loads. And then after that, we will be seeking out any of these manufacturers, the smaller manufacturers that like to make the really hot stuff. You know who those companies are. We'll see if any of them start picking up things like 400 Legend and 360 Buckhammer anytime soon. So personally, I think it's pretty cool. I do think that you can hand this to most shooters, new shooters, youth shooters, things like that, first-time hunters. I think it would be a good cartridge for them. I'm sure it's going to deliver plenty of knockdown energy, just like the 350 Legend, except for this one's configured more for a lever gun than anything. Single shots, lever guns, you're not going to really find this in an AR, I doubt. Maybe somebody will try, but that's not what it's made for. Overall, I'm trying to show people an affordable option here. So Encores aren't necessarily affordable, but the barrel upgrades are. And if this ever comes out in the CVA Scout, which I do believe it will, I just don't know when, then that's a pretty affordable platform. These SIG Buckmaster scopes, totally affordable. And the factory ammunition isn't too bad, at least for this cartridge. It's not as bad as like 4570, 450 Bushmaster, things like that. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see us testing out those other cartridges and the continued testing of the 360 Buckhammer. And remember, this is swappable with the 460 Smith & Wesson Magnum. We'll be testing that one too. You don't want to miss that. That's a crusher of a cartridge. Check your notification bell if you're already subscribed, because you know funny things happen. Thank you for watching this video, and until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.